Death-touched catacombs. Truly a place where I've been touched by death. And yet, I walk away from this entirely alive. And now we shall venture forth and seek a proper way out and through and on unto the new horizons, whatever fate might bring. Of course, we've already been through here, but might as well see about doing it again. Just to make our way. Though it is a path already trod, and the rewards have largely already been earned, at the very least it is in the way. And I started heading the wrong direction. Back to the beyond. Well, it seems it takes a moment. So, once spirits have been removed, once you are done with them, once you're satisfied with the summoning, spirits return to a place called the Beyond, presumably from whence they came, for it says, returns. So the spirits don't dwell directly in their ashes. Aww. Another sight of grace. The Warmaster's shack. I suppose that makes this person the Warmaster.
Not seen you before. Name's Bernal. Tarnished, just like you. Let me ask you something. Are you here in the lands between to take up the fight? Does your faith in the guidance of grace hold firm, despite the collapse of the Golden Order?
Let's see here. First of all, we ought to note that Bernal means strength of a bear. And since he is the Warmaster, certainly that must hold true. He has beasts on his armor which are not bears, however. Lions, or... well, yes, they take mostly the form of lions. But it would seem that there are some lupine features as well, making it seem like he's some sort of idealized mix of wolf and lion, or at least is portraying himself as such. The tassels at the bottom of his armor are very interesting as well. Not the sort of thing one would expect in most plate armors, but this is a very unique sort of kit he's got. Regardless, though I hold faith in the guidance of other things more, I shall say my faith in grace holds firm. I at the very least know that it brings me back to life, and I seek to follow in the path it leads eventually.
Yes, you're a tarnished through and through. Takes me back. But that's a quality needed now more than ever. Any interest in bearing the torch of my battle arts? All I know is the sword. Picked up a fair few tricks in my time, too. Now's the time to pass them on. To a good and proper tarnished, like you.
Now, let's keep in mind, this man, Bernal, seems to value honor a great deal, as well as strength of arms. And he seems to be the sort to believe that he needs a legacy to carry on into the future. Which of course means he's given up on his own ability to mark out the path and seeks to be a guidance and counsel to others. This is not a terribly horrible thing in some ways. To be a teacher is a most righteous profession indeed. It is one of the most useful and powerful ones that one can choose to enable oneself's action in. And yet, it speaks to this man having gone through a great deal that has driven him towards melancholy and doubt. Though he seems to waver in the faith he has asked us about. At one time he did believe in it. At one time he must have pursued it quite thoroughly. But now he does not see himself as capable, and seeks to make the next generation better than he ever was. Perhaps so that we can succeed where he has failed. It's an interesting sort of character archetype to bring to the fore. Let's see what else he has to say before... No. I'll purchase one such art. Let's see. Ah, spinning slash. That is a truly ancient technique. Having come into play on this very curved sword which I wield, the Shamshir, it implies that the ancient culture that built the foundations of the world are the ones who came up with spinning slash. As such, he truly is a master of ancient techniques, and knows the way of war quite thoroughly. But since I have that one already, let's see what else he has. Impaling thrust sounds promising. Quick step, Stormblade. That's what we'll choose. We're on the precipice of Stormvale, so Stormblade is quite appropriate. Nothing more to say to us for now. But he does still have the option to talk. So let's hear him out.
There's a myriad of battle arts in these lands that I've yet to discover. Mementos of all the warriors who raised their arms in battle, lost and died. A fine tale, all told of true chivalric romance. That's how I fell in love with the sword, and the arts of combat. It grants meaning even to falling in battle, to death itself.
So, let's keep that in mind. He says these ashes of war which he has delivered are scattered throughout the land as mementos of those who have come before, in order to help those who would go forward. Just like the finger severer and the furling finger which we found at the beginning of our quest upon the maiden that was slain. So, these are the legacies of warriors. He's gathering up all the strength of past warriors and bringing them to others so that he can cause us, the warriors of the present, to become great champions that have an accumulation of skill and knowledge from the past. Those who know the follies of the past and the triumphs are less likely to copy the former and more capable in pursuing the latter. That is a most interesting sort of philosophy for him to bear. Moreover, he says, these ashes of war grant meaning even to death. Not only are they mementos which remind us of those who have come before, and we should keep that in mind for interpreting, say, when we find an ash of war on a scarab, that there must have been someone using such a technique in the past here. But it is also the case that by way of inheritance, there can be a practical improvement of the people who come afterwards. And by that means, those who have lost are not truly gone. Their memories will be retained and carried forward into the future, so the generations can tell the songs of their victories and their defeats, and that they might be memorialized beyond just the ash itself, so that when we remember and carry out their techniques, they can live again through us. This is a truly beautiful image he evokes. And so I shall take a little bit more.
Well, until we meet again.
Until then, Benno.
Ah! What's wrong with you? I won't say.
Goodness, I did not intend to do that. I am terribly sorry, Benno. Forgive me for my insolence. This is a slip I shall not attempt to impart upon you again. I hope we can still do business in the future. This has not tainted our relationship too terribly. Farewell. Fire and blood. These things flowers speak to here. Embers on the wind, perhaps. Signals of battle, once past, and some to come. The very foliage reflects the character of Bernal. The flame, the torch he would have us bear. A broken caravan. Seeing these mercenaries have attacked the people who were originally here. Dear, dear. But perhaps I deserve that for what I did to Bernal. My mind feels fogged like the landscape. why would they patrol this area, even after they had slain that merchant? It's very strange. Goodbye, Carian Prisoner. Fire arrows. As he sailed from a distance, then? Were they actually guarding the remnants of this, hoping that someone would come to relieve them of their burdens? I don't know if that's true, but that would be quite tragic if that misunderstanding truly was the case. Ah! More of these worm things. Perhaps we'll now be able to actually find the source. The reason for them being here. So these are the undersides of the bridge. Okay, it must be, yes. The bridge to the Divine Tower. And that is quite the sizable building. An impressive one, which has been given pride of place beside that divine edifice. Oh, this is blood and flame mark the ground again, as well as yellow insanity. Recusant Enricus. A man with a giant hammer. Well, a mace, really. A mace which he uses as flame. And he has a symbol with an eye on his chest. An eye on the chest. And flame and lava bursting forth in his armament. As well as a great help, mark of a crusader. Quite the patient and ferocious foe, this one. but his patience will not pay off. Goodbye, Enriquez. Recusant Enriquez has died and left his hammer talisman. One which appears to be wearing a visage very similar to his own. Of course, it has a different helmet. One that has a top knot very similar to Deathroot, in fact. And the shape of the helmet actually evokes a skull as well. But the hammer it's wielding, the mace, is in fact being attributed to a knight. A knight with a bevor as well as his helmet. Enhances stamina reducing attacks against blocking opponents. Hammers are highly effective against shield-bearing foes, so much that they are known as night killers. This would imply that Enriquez was a specialized opponent intended to take me down. That he was a night killer. That the one who sent him out here knew that I was training to become a Carian knight. And presumably that this Enriquez actually had killed multiple knights before. A most disturbing thought, that. It is a good thing I, personally, cut above the average one. Oh, and this figure is a burned corpse. One that looks like they were maligned by Enriquez as he arrived here. A duelist's furled finger to write a red summon sign. Competitive multiplayer will begin once you have been summoned by a player from another world. You will take the role of an adversary, a duelist, and your objective is to defeat the host fingers who summoned you. Small red effigy and duelist's furled fingers. Now this is very similar to this other means of doing supposed PvP, whatever that is supposed to mean, via quote-unquote online play, which we received earlier. That would be this. Well, I suppose, yes, it is very similar to the tarnished furled finger. That's not what I meant specifically, although that is actually very, very similar to this, as is the small golden effigy compared to the small red effigy. Red is, here, very clearly aligned with blood. Blood seems to be under the fingernail of this furled finger, and marks the effigy as if it was stabbed into someone rather than the ground. Whereas the tarnished furled finger appears as if it has been smeared in fur-calling finger remedy. We also have this wizened finger, but it is only good for messages, as if it were some sort of stone for writing upon dirt. Some sort of chalk. Or perhaps coal. But let's see here. Don't we have something else? I thought for sure we'd actually acquired some already. I don't... No, we must have only seen them in the store. But I am confident that there was some sort of fetid or... oh, what is it? Some sort of rotting... some sort of... putrescent finger? Something to do with blood curdling, rotting on the vine, so to speak. It was associated with cursed blood. Cess blood, I think it was called. It implies there's some sort of grime or pool of rot that it is associated with. Maybe just congealed, long-term cooling blood. Like a lake of blood that seeped into the earth. There sure are a lot of these colossi. These iron giants that have collapsed here. Though perhaps they're not actually iron. They do look rather ore-like. Maybe they're supposed to be stone colossi. It is interesting that they're all gathered around this place, though. What use have these giant machines for an arena? An arena which bears marks of giant trees that are skinnier and bear less broad. What are they called? Canopies than the Erd tree. It's a very interesting sort of situation. And yet we see the Erd tree herself in here. To engage in combat with other players, touch the effigy of America in a Colosseum. United combat. And combat ordeals can be undertaken at this venue. In united combats, two teams of fighters clash. Combat ordeals are all-out brawls in which every combatant is out for themselves. We see benches lining this place which look very much similar to the stone coffins that we often see. At the very least, the geometry and stonework is very reminiscent. Lions dot the walls. You see some sort of crest here with a lion at the top and a fleur-de-lis. A lily of some sort. And that looks like a goblet down below, perhaps. Ah! Two lions flanking what appears to be some sort of flaming tree. That's quite ominous. I wonder what this could all be about. Up above these lions, which have the same sort of topper as on here, we can see, and the bottom as well, scenes which appear to be some sort of gladiatorial combat being undergone here. It must be one of those team battles that were being described. And up here, two lions with incredibly long and fiery tails coming up on either side, looking almost like branches of trees themselves, flanking what appears to be a spiraling pillar reaching upwards and showing off that same sort of flaming tree design, flanked by what now appear to be serpents with the heads of lions. Very, very curious sort of caduceus feeling imagery here. But what sort of medicine might be on offer? What sort of transformation is being marked? Not a fire, and yet the wood still glows as if it were. One of the four, no, 2 out of 4 of the little altars here have gone out, snuffed of their flames. This dais retains its 2 solar candles, however. I wish I could actually see the inscriptions properly here. They are all but completely faded, however. And this is somehow deeply, deeply eroded despite being indoors. Must be incredibly old. Perhaps people touched their hands to the thing quite a lot. Speaking of which, this statue of America, despite being a little bit weathered and having a little bit of its gold flaked away, revealing the silvery image underneath, quite clearly appears to be of another makeup than the stone altar here. It makes it seem as if she is actually imposing her will upon this place, taking it over for herself. I wonder if this is a truly, truly ancient building then. If this Colosseum might have been around when those stone automata were still actually in play, being built regularly. Oh, I know this. No, wait. It was slightly different, but a very similar panel to this one. One that had a crown that looked like it had flowing vines or something along those lines going to either side here. Was in place around a lion exactly like this, back on the Chapel of Anticipation. But here, there are two divine-looking figures flanking a ring. A ring which bears itself a bell or some sort of crown on top. It has... what is that? It looks like the symbol of a butterfly or something in the midst of that. I can't exactly make it out fully, but this is very curious. Very curious indeed. Even so, I think that's about all we can do here. I don't care to engage in whatever that PvP actually is. Now, little worm, are you here because the Colosseum and those automata are from the same era as you? Do you guard this place and think yourself a protector of the ancient monuments of days gone by? You turn the other direction, as if on patrol. I think that must be it. That Colosseum must be related to those worms somehow. Or else they've been reappropriated for that purpose. And here is yet another one of these automata. I suppose... Ah! A trap? A mine set off to detonate if one got too close? Most disturbing. This strikes me as indicative that this place was actually part of some sort of ancient battlefield or something. Maybe those robots were actually... What? What? A whirlwind and then wolves coming to race in and attack me. 5 wolves on the wind. Very curious. Storm-bringing wolves. Come to think of it, though, the outer edifice of that Colosseum does actually look somewhat like the construction of these automata. It has all those, what are they called? All those sorts of lines and flutes, which give it a rather distinctive look. So yes, maybe they were little scouts or detectives that were supposed to prevent this place from being invaded. But all of their charges were eliminated. And they bear ruin fragments as well. Just like these fallen pieces of a temple in the sky. Is it the case that not... What? What? Another whirlwind? Oh my goodness, even here! Three ambushes with 3, 4, and 5. That makes 15. Symbolic of perfection. Symbolic of the moon and the dragons. Very curious. What have the dragons and the moon to do with wolves? And the storm. Storm I could see belonging to dragons. They fly through the sky and rain terror from above. Heat can affect the flow of wind and perhaps even cold maelstroms. And dragons are masters of heat. Should make them masters of lightning as well. And they fell from the sky. So, hounds from the sky, beasts from the sky, associated with dragons. I am reminded of that supposed temple in the sky that was being spoken of just then. I wonder, is it in fact related to the matter of those automata? Were they and the ground, the surface level itself, actually constructed by the same beings who built that temple in the sky? Well, we do actually know the automata are associated with the builders of the Chthonic Realm's ceiling. We do know that because we found inside of the High Road Cave one of those actually being intact. So, those fiery giants, those machines, are in fact associated with the flowing sword and the ceiling of the god of rot. And here we go. So, let's think. Let's think. There must be some sort of massive empire that spanned the underground, the above ground, and, well, at one point spanned what was underground. Built the above ground, and then went on to create a kingdom on even the tallest places this world actually has to see. That is to say, the sky through which they would be able to actually observe all the world. What was that sound? Oh my goodness! Death bird! A bird that brings death. Ah! You mongrels! You would dare interrupt a duel of this nature? I fight the forces of death itself? And these beasts see fit to try and ruin my ability? No more healing. Most ferocious opponent. Now that I think of it, stupid beasts. I cannot believe they would challenge me in such a way. Since it is not coming here and now, I suppose this means... Yes, that must be it. Like the bats, the bird of death is nocturnal. That is unfortunate, but very interesting as well. In order to make it possible to defeat this, I think there are two options to consider. The Theta must be employed, death to the death. And in addition, I must seek out a risky plan's solution. No healing. Nothing. Just magic. This does not bode especially well. That was not a good attempt. Actually, I have a different plan. This will have to do. I will have to confront it. Oh, mostly using the blade. It is a very risky plan either way. That creature is most ferocious. But perhaps if I can get within its reach... not be so easy for it to lash out at me like that. That went much better, but goodness, this is a rather wretched scenario. All those pointlessly aggressive creatures trying to interrupt destiny of destruction that this death bird is to be afflicted with. Why are the rams so keen on dying? Do they seek to sacrifice themselves for the sake of death? Getting to the blasted thing is far more of a pain than it ought to be. There's no point going back for my runes this time. The thing has bereaved me even of that. Blasted. Blasted. I've got your number now! Like everything else. A talisman adorned with blue feathers, once used in ancient death rituals. The talisman itself actually looks like it has the heads of death birds upon it, and feathers which seem very similar to the ones on its wings. It raises defense when HP is low. The heart sings when one draws close upon death, and thus does one cling so tenaciously to life, to render up a death worth offering. This is a feeling I know all too well. And thus I have rendered up death to my enemies, which was worthy of the struggle. Suppose I should head back to Vernal, though. Perhaps I might be able to purchase a couple more of the Ashes of War there.
Hello. Glad to see you safe. Here to learn a battle art or two.
Yes, indeed. Fortunately, now I am safe. Let's see. I have endured, and so I shall require endure. My enemies have sent forth their cries, their screams in battle, and I will acquire this memento to remember them by. Parry, I already have a shield to do that. But no, I don't have the ability to afford it at the moment. But dodging, like stepping away, that is good. I don't know what good this will do, but it is the most valuable one I still have to my accessibility, so I shall claim it.
Well,
thank you, Bernal.
Until we meet again.
Until then. This has been an interesting experience. A rough go of things, a little bit. But a rewarding one all the same. And it ends just like that. But I will come again, and again, until my nights are through, and my days have been fully numbered. This is the path which I trod, filled with violence blood, death, and slumber, to which I am being drawn once again. Until next we meet, I bid you farewell.